Welcome back. You are tuned into the weekend edition of the Iftar Drive right here on Salam Media. My name is Zahid Jadwat, coming to you live on the various platforms of Salam Media. Indeed, we are coming to you live via our audio stream on our website, salammedia.com forward slash listen dash live. And then, of course, we're coming to you on our Facebook pages, YouTube, as well as Twitter. You can engage with us on our various platforms throughout the show, and we look forward to receiving your comments. Let's now go to the town of Harrismith in the Free State, where residents say they've been left without electricity for about a week now. So it's been since last Sunday. And joining us now is Nazira Hansa, who is a resident of Harrismith. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me.
Okay, so Sister Nazira, at the moment, I do understand ESCOM. So there's two things here, right? So residents of Harrismith have been facing chronic electricity issues, which we'll get into. And then, of course, load shedding is something that the rest of us across the country have also been subjected to for the greater part of this year. And I understand that at the moment, load shedding seems to have cooled down a bit. And I believe tomorrow it will be suspended. At least just for tomorrow. But that doesn't really change things for you in Harrismith, does it?
No, it does not. We have been left without electricity due to cables that were burnt and all sorts of stories for the past 6 days now. Certain areas have been restored, but other areas are still battling.
Okay. Now, I do understand this is not a new issue for you. I do believe my colleague, Julie Ali, was it sometime last year, if I'm not mistaken, there was like a severe bout of an electricity outage in your area, and you were on her show in one of the mornings speaking about the lack of electricity in your town. So it seems not much has changed since then. What's the situation like in Harrismith? What's leading to this severe electricity crisis?
Look, the incident that you're speaking about happened only 6 months ago when we were left without electricity for 13 days. And now 6 months later, we find ourselves back in a similar situation. People feel a sense of anxiety every time the power goes off and doesn't come back on when it's supposed to come back on. We're living in constant fear that you've got food in the freezers and you've got prepared for Ramadan and you don't know how long is it going to be off for this time. I think in general, there's definitely a lack of service delivery in Harrismith. We also constantly have issues with water, refuse removal. The roads are in a horrible state. It's just ongoing and it doesn't seem like there's any light at the end of the tunnel.
How is it like for you in Ramadan now? So we are on day 2 of Ramadan, no electricity. I can't imagine what a nightmare that must be for you.
No, of course. And you prepare for Ramadan by stocking up your freezers so that it makes it more convenient for you, so that you have more time for prayer and, ibadah. But when you put in a situation like this and your food is spoiling and you have to throw away everything, it makes things that much more difficult. Because we actually live in, like I've said, we live in fear. We're scared to stock up our freezers because we don't know when is it going to happen again.
Mm-hmm. I do understand there was some communication earlier on. Perhaps you could confirm whether that was true or whether that was rumor. But we were hearing that the electricity, or rather residents were hearing that the electricity might be restored during the course of the day today. Has that happened as yet?
Some areas have had their electricity restored last night already. It was actually in sections. I think there was different issues in different areas. So most of us got our electricity back early this week, and others were still left without electricity, and some parts are still without electricity. But the communication from the municipal side and from the councillors there's a lot of mixed messages. So we don't know what to believe. When they say the electricity is coming on today, you're just sitting there and you think the only time that the electricity is back is when the lights come on, and then you have proof that it's on. Okay. But I mean, the messages that you get from people is just yeah, empty words.
When you say mixed messages, what exactly do you mean by that?
Uh, there was issues like in the week when they said that the cables were arriving today at 12 o'clock. The cables will be here and the installation will happen. And 12 o'clock had passed and 1 o'clock and hours later, then they said, oh, the cables are not on its way anymore. It's coming tomorrow. So, and then you hear one story from this councillor and another story from the municipality. So the stories don't align.
Have you guys been engaging with your councillors and the officials or the powers that
We're
be?
on a constant basis in communication with them. We actually last year, September, when we had the serious issue, we started a group called United We Stand / Water Heroes. Now, Water Heroes were an organization that was running the basic services in Harrismith a couple of years ago, and they did a very good job at it. So we joined forces with them because we were concerned residents about where the future of Harrismith is and where it's going. And so we have been in constant communication with the municipality and trying to work with them and assist them to get things back to what it used to be. But, it's moving at such a slow rate that, like I've said before, it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And it's just a constant battle to get answers and to get them to commit to anything.
Yeah, I do remember, was it somewhere towards the end of 2019, when there was a movement from community members in Harrismith who banded together and were providing water services. Is that the same one you were speaking about,
I
or
think
not?
that is the same one that we're talking about, the water
Yeah.
heroes, yes.
So essentially, what has happened is residents have now had to take up the issue by themselves and now fill the shoes of what would have been the state's mandate. But I think that's a sad situation that has had to happen there. What are some of the results that this movement, together with yours, United We Stand, I believe it's called, have you been able to yield any positive results? To at least lift the moods of your fellow residents.
Um, it gives us a very good sense of unity when we all come together, when we host community meetings. But it never gets anything further than that. It's always just meetings and meetings with the municipal officers, with the workers. But nothing ever comes of it. It feels like a very slow process. There's a lot of promises, but nothing happens.
What do you think is holding it back, though?
My honest opinion is I think it is politics.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't elaborate further, but I really think it's a political game, what's happening in Harrismith.
Okay, sure. All right. I do hope that the situation will improve, and hopefully we won't be speaking again in the next 6 months. To
Or if
with
we do
regards to
speak, it should be on a more positive note.
oh
We
yes, of
should be
course,
speaking about improvements.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But between you and I and the listeners out there, sadly, we can sort of guess what that outcome is going to be like, and what the next 6 months might look like. But let's not be pessimistic. It is a month of Ramadan. We do have du'as as well, the power of du'a, so we can employ
100%.
that as well. But all the best to you and your residents in Harrismith. I hope the situation improves. And I hope the councillors and the powers that be don't just pay lip service moving forward, that they actually take action. And of course, elections coming up next year, not local government elections, but national elections. And surely that is a chance for residents to make their voices heard as well. So let's leave it there for now. And you go well,
Keep us in your duas.
inshallah. I mean, that was Nazira Hunter, a resident of Harrismith in the Free State, speaking to us about the chronic electricity problem in her town. Of course, this is not a new issue. We have spoken to her previously right here on Salam Media in previous instances where they've had electricity problems. They've also been having water problems, and I do understand that the Maluti Apufung municipality, which is where they are residing, was also placed under administration at some point. There were councillors who were, it was a messy situation the last time I checked, and I can't imagine things must have changed enough to improve the lives of its citizens since then. let's take a break. When we get back, it's time for the weekly tafsir segment. This time, we'll be speaking to Maulana Muhammad Zubair Ghulam. Please do stay tuned.